What's good, everybody? What's good, man? What's good? Happy Wednesday, yo. Happy Wednesday, everyone out there. Man, what's good, beautiful people? I hope everyone's having a beautiful Wednesday, man. How's everybody doing, man? Man, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all so much. And thank you for joining me for another episode of the Jayson Estrera show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. Now, today, we're going to be talking even more about Team USA because they will be playing against Canada tonight in an exhibition match. And the question is, who will be their starting five? I guess not just tonight, but when the Olympics actually start, who will be their starting five? We've already talked about some of the X factors and some of the who I think the number one options and scoring options and whatnot are. But now it's time to talk about who we think is actually going to be starting. And we'll also be talking about the Mikal Bridges intro and the Klay Thompson intro. And we'll be talking, it's a lot of basketball today. There was some breaking news today as well, too. But first, we got to talk about this, man. So this was also, I guess, speaking of breaking news, right? Because this was also breaking news today. And where is it? Where is it? It's one. Where's the other one? The fuck? Oh, here. The cover for 2K25 is going to feature Jayson Tatum and A'ja Wilson. There's going to be, I think there's a version with just Tatum. There's a version with just A'ja. And then the other one is Vince Carter is the Hall of Fame, the special edition. And this is fucking sick. Like, this is sick. This looks like something that should go in like a little statue. That's what this looks like, right? Like a little statue that's half gold, half regular. Oh, that's sick. That's so sick. But yeah, that's, Jayson Tatum and A'ja Wilson graced the cover of NBA 2K25. And I guess more so than that, one of the first dual in terms of the NBA, or if not the first dual cover with the NBA and a WNBA player. And both of them are champions. The most recent championship, and obviously A'ja Wilson has a chance of getting another championship this year. So really, for the most part, a lot of 2K players, their season starts during the NBA season. And that's when the WNBA is ending, right? And so she has a chance of really, WNBA champion on the cover of 2K going into the NBA season. Yeah, talk about some momentum, right? Talk about momentum, timing, right place, right time. Just that's great. And I think a part of it too is they could have had a number of covers, right? Let's see let's see what the covers are by the years. Now I'm curious. Excuse me. Smith. 25, 24 was Kobe. With this, there was a Sabrina one also, WNBA edition. 23 was Devin Booker with a Jordan edition, and they had a WNBA edition. 2K22 is already. I was thinking maybe they could have done like a Luka. I don't know if they've had Giannis. 21 was Dame. 20 was AD. 19 was Giannis. I mean, I guess at this point there really are. It's in terms of people that have won. If you're not gonna put like a Jokic or some shit on there, then yeah, I guess you would have to kind of go with Tatum. Which I don't know when they start going through this process. He said he had heard about it on his birthday. What is March 3? So in the middle of this year, so before the playoffs. And there's a great interview with Tatum and Asia Wilson on the Old Man and the Three. I'm forgetting on this gentleman's name. Forgetting on his fucking name. Fuck. But it was him, JJ Redick's co-host. You know, his guy, dude, always the fucked up hat. His hat always doing some next shit on the podcast. But it was him and Sue Bird interviewing Tatum and Asia Wilson. And obviously they're both champions, and Tatum recently a champion. Talking about just that, right? And something that I took away from it was he kept talking about how earlier on in his career, because obviously Tatum's a scorer, he wants to score, shoot. He was saying that he wanted to win, but he wanted it to look a certain way. Right? And if you've watched basketball for a long time, if you're a hooper, you know exactly what he's saying. Right? That means you're shooting 40, 45, hopefully 50% from the field. You get your 25, 28, 30 plus if it's a really good game. And then depending on how many rebounds in this, that's the kind of game that you're really talking about, right? And going through the playoffs and the finals, when you see the numbers that Michael Jordan has had, you see the numbers that Kobe Bryant has had, but then you also remember the horrible game that he had, Kobe Bryant did en route to a loss against the Celtics, and also in the win, right? It's a part of it when you really look at things for what they are. And he said he made a decision going into the playoffs that he did not care how the game looked. He just wanted to win. It was winning over everything. And you got to commend him on that. And we'll talk about this a little bit more with him later. You got to commend him in having that mentality, maturing to get to that point, right? It takes a lot of losses, a lot of bumps in the road. He was talking about a low point when they lost to Golden State. Yeah, a lot of those things go into the person that we see today. And, obviously people clown him online, but you could tell that he's really gone through that process. And, hey, maybe they'll run the table on a couple of championships. And then on the other side, when you look at Asia Wilson, she speaks from a place of multiple championships, MVP of the league. It's winning is everything. Anything less pretty much does not matter. And there was a question about greatness, and she basically said, you can't be great if you don't have a ring. And obviously there's some champions that we've seen in history that say that Tatum had a little bit of a. He kind of chimed in saying it's not that simple. Basically is what he was trying to say, because there have been a lot of great players that didn't win, and Asia agreed, but you could tell she's on the path to a third championship. That's the path that she's on, and she speaks as a person that's in the middle of that. And so yeah, it was really cool seeing two players that this was probably Asia Wilson at just a year ago, or a little bit over a year ago after winning her first championship, right? So, yeah. Or actually, no, last year would have been her second championship. So 2 years ago. So she, And fast forward to now where she is in her career, and in her maturity, and seeing how Jayson Tatum has matured. I wonder where he'll be 2 years from now, right? So yeah, that's something to look forward to. Hopefully the game is dope. Can't wait to see what it was. This past one I thought was actually really good. I didn't even speak about the game at all, but I thought this past one was really good. They fixed the shooting mechanics. The game feels a lot more fluid. The movement looks nice. Yeah, I thought this game was much better than their recent efforts. Because as far as I'm concerned, the last one that I genuinely liked was probably like 18, probably. Like that, I really really loved. Like where I was like, this game is incredible. 19, 18. Let's see. Let's see who's. I mean, I was already on it earlier. 20, yeah, 19. I was really fucking with 18. Yeah, that one was good. I remember that. The Kyrie cover, Paul George. Yeah, and then 16 was elite. But yeah, yeah. So this past, like I said, this past one was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I still play it. But yeah, moving on, and it's really realistic. Like especially after a lot of the early updates, I will say that early in the game, I thought this game was gonna be shit. They did some updates, changed some of the shooting mechanics and the way that it works and the way that the greens work. Made it more consistent. So you really can play like some of your favorite players in the NBA if you take the time to kind of learn their shots and their style. But yeah, so that part's really really cool. So now let's move on. Speaking of my players, we got my guy Mikal Bridges on the New York Knicks. He got introduced yesterday. Did the press conference. That room looked little as fuck, by the way. I was like, I don't know what they was doing, but that room looks small. So they did the Mikal Bridges introduction yesterday. It was yesterday, right? 2 days ago? Yesterday. No, I think it was yesterday. And not much, right? Not much. Just pretty basic stuff. You could tell he's excited. He said, what sucks about it is it's the middle of the summer, right? So I think for him, it's one of those where he doesn't want to, he's obviously excited, but he wants to go out there and play with this team. I'm sure he's very excited about, obviously, the Villanova guys, but everyone else, right? OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. They have a really, really good team, and has great upside potential. So he's potentially a missing piece, and we're going to see if he fills that role or not. But like I said, there isn't much to take away from the introduction outside of this, right? This to me was one of a few things, which was they asked him a lot about OG Anunoby, and he was very candid in saying that they're good friends. They've built a relationship over the years, and he's really excited to play with OG, right? He's always spoken highly of him, and to be on the same team as OG, he's really excited about that. Now, for me being fucking skeptical, I'm like, are you just saying that because you don't want to make it look like you're overly excited to go play with your college homies? And obviously OG is a really good player in this league, and has shown flashes of greatness. And pairing him up, Mikal Bridges up with OG, they had even asked the question of how does them two match up against Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, which is a valid question, right? You have one of the, if not the best duo in the league, especially because they had just carried their team to a championship. Or not carried, but gotten their team to the finals again, and now gotten the championship with better help around them. And now you're comparing two players that have never played together to two players that have been playing together for like 6-7 years, right? And this is what I'm talking about. I was talking about this with the Celtics. You cannot reciprocate the path that they've been on, the losses that they've had, right? Going at it against all of these teams, thinking they have a chance, ultimately falling. They lost on their home floor. The Warriors celebrated on their home floor. On Boston's home floor. Sorry, I just want to make that clear. Feeling those emotions, right? Feeling that loss. Having your guys traded because you guys didn't get the job done. Now getting new players in and everyone's expecting you guys to win, right? All of these roller coaster of emotions you can't replicate. And even though, they have had different players, right? Drew and KP are here now, but Tatum and Brown have gone through that whole process together. And you're talking about an OG Anunoby who is still, kind of figuring out where he is on this Knicks team, right? Julius Randle's been out. I've already spoken about having to figure out that dynamic because he's a 20-plus point per game scorer, right? Having the real back of Jalen Brunson, that's, in my opinion, was by the end of the season an MVP candidate, right? Adding an OG Anunoby who just got paid. Mikal Bridges. They have so many things that they have to mesh together first, right? Now, here's the other part. Does Tatum even end up against OG or Mikal Bridges? Because if you think about the lineup that the Celtics run with Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and the Kristaps Porzingis, and if you're thinking that the Knicks are going to run Brunson, OG, Mikal Bridges, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson, then that becomes an issue because then you end up having a Jason Tatum lining up against a Julius Randle. So in the matchup between these two teams, it really depends on the lineup, right? Because now the matchup is totally different, right? Now you have the two stars of the team, which is a Julius Randle and a Jason Tatum going at it. And now you end up having, let's say, a OG Anunoby against the Jaylen Brown, and Derek White probably gets the Bridges, the Mikal Bridges assignment. And then obviously Drew Holiday with Jalen Brunson. So they might not even be matching up. And I understand the question because they're both wing players, and saying this, the duo of OG and Mikal can, if they can be a counter to a Tatum and a Brown, and that's when I say, well, hold up. They might not even be lined up against each other. So, yeah, and like I said, the experience, the time, I like our team, right? I like our team. I like the fact that these two guys, I think, in terms of competing, athleticism, and size, can hold their own against these two players, right? Which is great because now you're talking about a Kristaps Porzingis and a Drew Holiday that basically has to match the two all-stars or the two superstars or a superstar and all-star, however you want to classify Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. So I do like I like this, right? I like this for the Knicks, where they have two really good players that could really force Brown and Tatum to play defense and compete, that it could potentially free up a Jalen Brunson and a Julius Randle. So that's something, obviously, you gotta wait, right? We gotta wait, but I can't wait for until they finally match up in the regular season and we see what it looks like, right? So I'm super excited about that, man. I'm super excited about that. Now, the other part is, do the Knicks have a friendship buff? Is this a thing, right? And for me, the example I use is this, right? When a team is having a conversation with a player and they say, yeah, I think I'm going to need you to take a pay cut so we could bring a player in, or so we can go get a player in free agency or whatnot, right? Or do a sign and trade or whatever the case is. I'm sure that 99% of the time, the player's response is, for who? How good the player is one thing. If it's for your boy, what? Are you kidding me? Like, now, I don't think this takes anyone over the top, because obviously we've seen championship teams, we've seen Scottie and Pippen, where clearly they weren't necessarily best friends, get the job done and win consistently and be champions, right? Being friends doesn't do that. And as a matter of fact, in some businesses, we've seen friendships fuck everything up. And when it comes to them, familiarity, knowing someone's tendencies, knowing what someone does and doesn't do well, on the basketball court, I think it's a factor. Because now the passes, they're crisper, they're sharp, because you know this person, right? And when it comes to sacrifice, which is what I was getting at with the contract, when it comes to sacrifice, it's easier to do it when it's for somebody you know. I could take some money off. Oh, I can go give some points to Mikal. That's all good. I can give some passes to him. Whatever. When it's for your homie, it's okay. People are willing to make those sacrifices. The extra pass, right? You're not looking off the homie unless you really feel on fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if you look them off, there, like I said, you know your boy. There's the understanding whether you can go up to them or you already know. Oh, he was really feeling that shot. But that relationship, because for them, their relationship started on the basketball court. They weren't, school friends. They became friends on this team, trying to with the goal of getting into the NBA, but also to win a national championship, which they did. So I think theirs is a little different in that sense. And I think there is a little bit of, because think about it like this, right? Like you're going into a game, and you're one of your teammates is one of your close friends, right? That you speak to often, so you know if they got something going on with their wife, kids, they got some shit going on, dad asking mom, whatever. So if you're going into a game, walking in, obviously, you know, what do they say? Leave all that stuff at the door when you at the game, but people are human. Everyone's allowed to have a bad day. Everyone's allowed to have a bad game. But now when that's your friend, and now you guys are, hey man, pick it up. Yeah, what? Maybe it comes across that, oh shit, he maybe it's just his mind is just occupied right now. Then you turn you get the wheel. Okay, I got you. I got you. I'm gonna start getting into my shit, so I could kind of pick up the slack. Now your energy transfers to there, and so on, because you guys have that relationship, because y'all speak. And again, it could crash and burn for all I know, right? Like like I said, we've seen it go the other way with friendships, but I do think their friendship is different in the sense of they started in basketball, right? Theirs started in hoops. So, you know, I think obviously that matters. Now, we move on to the other big introduction, which is Klay Thompson. And Klay Thompson finally getting introduced as a Dallas Maverick. I think his number is like 31 or some. I don't love it, I'll be honest with you. But Klay sounds excited. Like I keep saying, a lot of these interviews is, there's only so much to take away from it, right? Because they can say anything, but the play is going to be something totally different, right? So for me, that's how I always approach these things. It's always a grain of salt. Obviously, there's the aspect of picturing what it looks like on the basketball court, and whatnot, and that's kind of what I like to do. But, you know, Klay Thompson's saying all the right things. For me, seems competitive right now. Like, he seems like he's driven. Talked about being in shape and getting in shape and whatnot. How valuable that is for him right now. And I think he's correct in that. Right? He needs to be in the best shape so that he can play the defense that he's played in the past. Get up and down the court, because I do think this Mavericks team needs to get out on the break more. They can't just keep playing half-court basketball, even though it's really important to be able to do that, and to be great at that is awesome, but they also need to be able to change the pace up. And Klay on the transition threes, when Luka and Kyrie are pushing the ball, it could be a very dangerous combo. So him being in shape is a huge piece of that, right? So that's exciting. Now, I'll get to that in a second. Where the fuck did I just? Oh, I got you. Okay. So he said something very interesting, that, you know, he's gonna get some clean shots with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Cleaner shots. Is that true or not? Because, like I've been saying, a lot of the Warriors offense was kind of predicated around this off-ball movement. And it's it gives Klay Thompson a lot of not just open threes, but rhythm threes, right? Where he's on the move, getting it to the spot that he likes, the side that he likes, which spot does he like to shoot at, which side, going which direction. He's obviously really good at shooting to his right, also good at shooting to his left, but I think he really likes to shoot to his right. Can shoot off the hip or shoot off the chest, kind of like how we've been seeing Devin Booker do recently. It's just he's so great in so many aspects of shooting, right? But the question is Luka and Kyrie able to get him cleaner shots than Steph Curry and let's just say Kevin Durant back then? Now, obviously, Luka Doncic is the most double team player in the NBA. And he always makes the right read, whether it's to move the ball, split the defense, get around the corner. He always makes the right play, right? Which is really dangerous when you have a shooter like a Klay Thompson. That's why we've seen Luka get 34 in a year where Kyrie also gets 27 a game. So obviously, Luka is phenomenal at it, right? And it's not something I take away. And we've also seen a lot of, especially during the playoffs, a lot of just standstill shots for the Dallas Mavericks. A lot of corner standstill shots for PJ Washington. We saw a whole bunch for even Derek White. But now it's Klay Thompson. And you can leave those guys when it's a Derek White, I think. When it's a Derek Jones Jr. and when it's a PJ Washington, I'll be honest, you can leave those guys. A part of why there's movement off of the ball for Klay Thompson is because if he stands there, someone's going to stand there next to him. Like, that's the part that people are kind of missing. And if you kind of go along the lines of thinking of Boston and you have solid defenders and you just try to contest, you can have success against Luka and Kyrie. And what were they, a 5th seed, a 6th seed? So it's not like, I get that Luka's great, right? But it's not like they were the number 1 team in the NBA, right? So that's why I think that they're still going to need to implement some stuff for Klay, because I don't think it's that simple where you could just put Klay in the corner and obviously you force guys to make a decision, but coaches are just going to literally say, I think they're just going to say, just stay home. Just stay home. And it'll force them to have to make some movement plays for Klay. So how far will that go? I think they are capable because, like I said, they're phenomenal one-on-one players and they can get to the basket at will, which forces double teams, right? So I will say that they're gonna force players and teams to make a decision, right? But if you give them that choice, rather than running a play that forces a certain scenario, I think teams are going to choose to stay home on a Klay Thompson who shoots 40+% from 3. And if you're talking about standstill threes, that's damn near 50%. Like, they're just not going to leave him. And I think they're just going to force Luka Doncic to get into the paint, pump fake, bump, shot. That's what they're going to do. And some nights it's going to work. Some nights it won't. And that's just going to be the reality of it. But cleaner shots, I don't know. I guess if you think about it in the sense of Luka and Kyrie both can be ball dominant and handle the ball and force double teams, right, themselves individually, that can get guys open shots, as opposed to a Steph Curry who's, more of a off-ball kind of point guard. Yeah, he does bring the ball up and he runs pick and rolls and whatnot, but he's not going to come down and do that every single possession down. And the same with the Kevin Durant, right? Kevin Durant likes to come off of the ball, likes to get the ball into spots. He's not just going to have the ball at the top of the key, ISO, get pick and rolls that forces things. So I guess in that sense, individually, when you're talking about it in that way, in a basketball way, I guess you could argue, yes, that Luka and Kyrie can potentially create some cleaner shots for Klay Thompson, but will it just be cleaner shots in general coming from the offense that Klay Thompson is coming from? I doubt that. I doubt that. That's very tough. You're talking about a system that gets taught to every single person when they come in there. It's a totally different thing. And like I said, I hope it works out for them, right? I would love to see them compete. I want to see the best players in the league competing for championships, right? That's what we want to see. But obviously, there's an adjustment, and I think they're capable of it, right? It's not that they're not capable of it. I think they're capable of it. We just got to see. Now, speaking of which, something that I think people are not speaking about. Oh, did I not? Okay, so we'll talk about that in one. Oh, I'm stupid. Anyway, is this Klay Thompson's revenge tour? Because we've spoken about how last year was his down years, and obviously since his injury, it's not, people have spoken about he's not the same Klay Thompson. And there were, people were arguing in the comments of one of my videos, and a Warriors fan came in, right? And he said, well, he watched a lot of Warriors games, obviously, and he was saying that Klay Thompson just did not look the same. And he was saying his shooting just wasn't the same, but more importantly, I guess his defense was not the same. He looked like he would give up on certain things, on certain plays in certain situations, head down. And so, obviously, that matters, right? And I countered that with, well, there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know. Whether it was the internal conversations with management talking about his contract, or, his dad was just talking about his relationship with Steph Curry and there was no mention of Draymond Green. And I had already, spoken on the fact that maybe they're not that close. Maybe Klay and Steph are close, but Draymond is not necessarily close with Klay, or maybe he's only close with Steph, or they used to be close, whatever the case, but maybe things aren't what they seem, right? I think some people want to believe that they're this big happy family, they're the trio because they're so young, but just sometimes everyone don't got to be best friends. We were just talking about it with the Knicks, right? In order to be successful, you don't have to be buddies with everyone. And maybe they just weren't that close. There's no problem with it. But maybe maybe they just weren't. And some of those internal problems he was just frustrated with everything. Part of that was all of this. And it was showing. He was wearing it on his sleeve, right? That's the problem. But when you talk about a new situation where he feels energized, he got two killers with him, with Luka and Kyrie. So there's no drop off in terms of the players that he has with him, right? He's still around great players. And then the other key where he talked about being in shape. That's really the key part for me, right? Because it takes time to come back from an ACL surgery. It takes time. That whole first year coming back is really just getting rid of the rust, but also just getting comfortable with movement, right? Trusting those movements that you're so used to doing. Second year is working. And in this time span, right, in those 2 years, 3 years, you got to be in damn near better shape than you were before the injury. You have to make up for that. And so him being in shape, I think, is going to go a long way. And obviously, modern medicine can solve a lot, right? And, he's talking about being in shape. We see the shape that Steph Curry is in. I think we really can see a Klay Thompson revenge tour if they add just a couple plays for Klay off on some of these screens. You add the fact that Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving might be 1 and 2 and one-on-one players in the NBA, meaning they can get by their guy, force defense to rotate and react so you can kick. Yeah, Klay Thompson can have a really, really good year. And, that's something that you would love to see. Like I keep saying, you want to see the best players play well. Like, it's just, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the NBA when the best players are playing well. And, seeing Klay Thompson, it'll be weird to see him in New Jersey. But if he really is in a better spot, then you got to be happy for the guy, right? And like I said, he's still with great players. Now, to talk about, because everyone's been talking about Luka, and I know I've been talking about Luka a lot with this situation as well too. But Kyrie Irving will thrive with Klay Thompson. Why? Because now Kyrie Irving was great off with Luka, with just them two, right? And even then, teams were still able to run double teams on Kyrie Irving. How do you do that with Klay Thompson on the floor? If Luka has the ball, right? If they might blitz him with the big, right? Now if Klay's in the corner, you can't come off of Klay, right? And if they play the pick and roll properly, right? Kyrie could get the ball and you can't come off of Luka. He gets to play one-on-one is what I'm trying to say here. Kyrie Irving, one of the greatest one-on-one players we've ever seen, gets to play one-on-one. Like, what? And, I think Klay is obviously going to open things up for Luka as well. And Luka is a phenomenal player. And I think a lot of people are kind of getting on me because I'm talking about, having to make a sacrifice. Like, Kyrie's already made a sacrifice, obviously, coming to this team, conceding to Luka Doncic, right? He's already making a sacrifice there. And the person with the ball in their hands and the most is the person that can make the most sacrifice. Let's be honest. And not to say that Kyrie's going to average 27 again or whatever. But he gets to live in one-on-ones. And if you're going to put someone on an island like that against Kyrie Irving, then more often than not, he's going to score or he's going to make the right play. And that's a real, real dangerous combo for someone like Kyrie Irving. It just, your shots are going to be easier for him. Like I said, if you're rotating, he can make a play, break that defender down. Boop, shot for Klay, shot for Luka. It's just, I think he'll be able to really, really thrive in this situation with Klay Thompson. Like I said, I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to see them, man. Hey, man, I can't wait to see these guys playing. Let me see. Now, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have any videos for today. We were having some technical difficulties yesterday. But we saw Cooper Flag getting some good runs in against Team USA yesterday. We saw him hit pull-up 3 on Anthony Davis, hit a little turnaround in the low block against Drew Holiday, had a putback. Like, he was just doing a lot on the floor, on the offensive end. And on the defensive end, tipping the ball, trying to stay in front of these guys. Cooper Flag is solidifying himself as the number 1 draft pick. And here's why. He could go into next season and I believe, where is he? He's on Duke. Oh yeah, he's on Duke. Oh, and my dumbass, I need to add a. So he's going to Duke, and so he doesn't have to lead the country in scoring, rebounds. He doesn't need to do any of that. Because when scouts and teams are looking at a player and they're trying to determine whether or not they're an NBA player, it's difficult to do that when they're playing against college kids that aren't going to be in the NBA. Overseas players that, maybe they're playing in a league that's not even the top league like Giannis was. Or there's only 1 or 2 NBA guys on that floor or on that team. As opposed to a Cooper Flag that has footage of him against not just NBA players, but the best NBA players in the league. And not only is there coaches are there. That goes a long, long way when it comes to seeing, because when this is what happens, right? You see a player, oh, he looked kind of slow. How does he get the shot off in the NBA? Or he don't. We saw it. You don't have to wonder, right? We don't have to try to visualize or, okay, when Anthony Davis come in, yeah, his shot, it's not some quick, but he knows how to get it off. We saw the timing of it. He got a feel for the game. You can't teach those things. And when you have actual footage of it, like I said, it goes a really, really long way. Not to mention, his stock has been going up for a long time, and this just adds to it, right? I think something monumental would have to happen for him to not go number 1 next year, because he looks great. Great size. He has a shot that he could get off in the post, a shot he can get off in the mid-range. He could shoot threes. Solid handle for his size. I mean, when you're looking for an NBA player that's going to be good to great, Cooper Flag looks like one. Right? When I was looking at Risache, the number 1 draft pick of in the NBA. I was looking up some of his highlights and stuff. But there was some of those highlights where Bronny James was getting in front of him and staying in front of him, and I'm looking at him like, I get that Bronny James. I've had the opinion that he can be a solid player in the NBA, but you're the number 1 draft pick. Like, you should be able to dominate that matchup. Not to mention, you're so much bigger than him. Like, I was looking at it, I was like, what the fuck? Versus a Cooper Flag, There was one moment where he missed it, right? And there was a foul. He saw LeBron James on the fast break and his eyes got big. Instead of passing it off, he drove, shouldered, put a shot up. There was another situation where I think, no, it wasn't a putback. I think it might have been, he was trying to dunk the ball on a putback. So when you see a player like him that seems to look at the game in that way, right? Where it looks like, and obviously it's a wait and see, but he looks like he looks at the game as competition. That's a real good thing, man. That's a real good thing. And obviously, not to get ahead of himself, not to get ahead of ourselves. He's not gonna. Oh, he's gonna be a dominant. Like we're not gonna get into all that. He's an NBA player. He showed it, right? Now it's a matter of where he goes. And I think because of the publicity, because of the media, he's gonna end up going number one just off of that. And then when you look at his game, he has a real serious game. And I saw someone saying, oh, he got sneaky athleticism. And granted, he could do things athletically. I think it's sneaky because he looked great against high school. We're comparing him to NBA athleticism. That's a totally different thing. But what I will say is when he attacks the basket, when he looks for contact, he not only plays aggressive, but he plays with a lot of force. And, some of these guys, when we see them dunking it, they're like laying it in there, barely touching the rim. They're trying to like look cute with it. Versus some of his dunks in high school, he looks like he's trying to rip the rim off. And I think that will go a long way, especially a frame like his that plays aggressive like that. He can get himself to the free throw line a lot, right? And that, as we've seen, that goes a long way into being a top scorer in the NBA. So, yeah, you take the things that he does well, what seems to be his mentality, right, without trying to speculate too much, right, into something that we can't, that's not tangible. But he seems to be everything a number one pick should be. He has the media, he got the game, he got everything, man. So yeah, good shit for the kid, man. 17 years old, balling against the best players in the league. Wow, like wow. Now, where is this? And this is wild, dog, because like literally just happened. But Kawhi Leonard is withdrawing from Team USA. And reports are, it was something that him and the Clippers had both kind of agreed on, that it'd be best for him to just get ready for the season. And soon after, they announced that Derek White is going to be his replacement. So I guess we got quite a bit to unpack with just this one topic. Excuse me. If you're the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, what was the fucking point in this? I've been getting on Luka and his health, right? This motherfucker shouldn't have been here neither. Because now you just wasted everybody's time. You literally went in there to go take some goddamn photos, bro. Like, what the... And if this is the Clippers, right? And you let him do... Bro... His health has been his health. Hasn't changed. So, the fact that you even let this... Like, And then just to say, oh, he should get ready for this, he should have been doing that anyway. So y'all both fucked up for that. Like, taking away this time from someone else. Like, what? Nah, bro. Like, I didn't like the fact that they did that shit, man. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I think that was, if it was the Clippers or if it was I don't know, but it just, that's lame as fuck. That's lame as fuck. And then you just withdraw him. Like, that's lame. That's lame. That's lame. It's like people say he just went in there to go take some photos and then leave. Like, now it's cemented. He got photos of him in the USA jersey attached to the Clippers and shit. It's like a publicity stunt that they tried to pull. Like, I don't get it. Like, what the fuck? Now, very quickly, I might add, news of Derek White replacing Kawhi Leonard. Why? I'm so tired of, oh, we got to build a team. Oh, we got to build a team. What build a team? This is Team USA and the Olympics. Why are you guys trying to get some fucking role players? Because you want to build. First of all, you guys have 30 days, and I'm about to get into this. You guys have 30 days to get ready. There is not no regular, oh, we can get our role players into the fold. We're going to get plays and sets in place. Newsflash, I don't know if people know this. Plays are set in place, for the most part, to get role players and other guys shots. I don't know if y'all know this or not. That's the purpose of them. Because a lot of great players can go and get shots on their own. But it puts them in a system. So when your best player is coming off of a pick, there's action happening somewhere else. They have an option. But when you're talking about a team that has 30 days to get, you just get the fucking best talent. They'll figure it out. Everyone wants to. There's never been an egos problem on the Olympics. The only problem they've ever had is when the best players don't go. That's the only time they've had problems. It's never been egos. Oh, can the best player get along with this? How are they going to figure out? That's never been an issue. On 30 days notice, they beat these other countries that have been practicing together on their national team for years. It's only ever been a matter of getting the best talent together, the best players in the NBA. So this role player shit is dumb. It's dumb. And no disrespect to Derek White. He had 35 points in round one. He's great. He's not motherfucking Kyrie Irving. We've seen Kyrie, take a backseat when he needs to, and we've seen him go get 50 when he needs to. Can shoot off the dribble, shoot off the cat, anything you want. Kyrie Irving can do. They're both 6'4". So my problem with this is you didn't even replace Kawhi Leonard with someone that got size. Because if you didn't want to get Kyrie Irving, you could have just went and got someone else that has size. And then you could say, "Oh, we're trying to build out, a bigger team. We didn't want to give up too much height by losing Kawhi Leonard because obviously he's a big player." Cool. And I know that they already made the decision against Kyrie Irving. His politics, how he's viewed, all the shit that happened to him. I get it, but he deserves to be on that team. And then when you get a Derek White, when you look at the Boston Celtics, because Jason Tatum's already on the team, Drew Holiday's already on the team. and you're going to pull from the Boston Celtics again. The fact that you don't get motherfucking Jaylen Brown. I don't get it. Bro, I don't get I genuinely do not get it. You're rewarding players who don't have the burden and the responsibility of an organization on their backs. That's what y'all do by putting role players. It's like putting them in motherfucking all-star games. You're rewarding them for being middle of the pack. When you critique all the top players by such minuscule things, but you want to reward a role player. We want to build a team. We want motherfucker, Kyrie Irving is friends with all those guys. Oh, Kyrie Irving can do anything on the basketball court, by the way. And then when you go to Derek White, you don't even go Jaylen Brown. Like, I'm speechless, dog. I'm speechless. And like I said, this is no disrespect to that. Even Derek White knows Jaylen Brown should be there instead of him if they were going this route. Like, I don't. Like this is what they be doing on these on these teams sometimes, dog. Like, this is what they be doing. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, there was a scrimmage, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, that ended with, let me see. I think I might actually have this video. I think it might be this one. Alright, my ass need a breather. Here you go. By the way, shout out who been recording this. 75-73 right now. Blue up white. Oh, here. So, Team USA barely wins that scrimmage, and there's a couple of people that were up in arms about it because, oh my God, they almost lost to the select team. This is what's going on. I was just saying, just recently, just with this Kawhi Leonard topic, they have a month to get ready. They have a month to try and simulate all the situations that they can in practice, right? One of those being a close game. It's great. Like, I get that there's some fans out there that don't find value in a close game because, oh, you're fucking up or you're doing. I find so much value in close games. You get to find out who wants the ball, who don't want the ball, who's willing to take the shot, who's not willing to take the shot, who gets frantic, who doesn't get frantic. You get to find out all of these things about your players and use that moving forward. that you wouldn't get otherwise. And on top, it's hard. You only get in so many tight games. It's hard to simulate those situations, right? So that's number one. I think it's good. They could end up blowing everyone out, and this shit's not gonna matter, right? So I do think that is good. Number two, they have 30 days to get ready. That means that Team USA is working on their shit because they don't have 3 months to work on to implement certain plays and certain concepts with their guys. So what's probably happening is, okay, this is the shot we're going to be looking for consistently. This is where we're elbows and boxes. We're going to try to play off of these situations and scenarios consistently. We're not going to let all of our talent out right now. We know how great we are. Right now, it's a matter of getting down our concepts, getting down some plays. Because, like I said, they have a month. 1 month. They have 31 days, I think, from getting there. And in that span, they have to get these things as close to crisp and second nature as they can. And then after that, their talent takes over. But until then, in practice, that's what's going on. They're limiting themselves because they're working on certain things. They're not going into scrimmages saying, "Oh, let's just go beat up on these guys." What do you gain from that? What? Tell me, what do you think they would gain from that? Beating up on guys that they've been beating up on for 82 games already. Like what? No, they're there. So they're real live bodies, and a lot of them are younger, athletic, so that they can give them these burns. So they can work on their sets against real bodies that are physical, athletic, quick. That's the purpose of this. But folks want to like bro. You gotta know what you watching, bro. Like, you gotta know what you watching. Now, the subject, and especially going into the game tonight, is who will start for Team USA? Now, for me, there are two guarantees. And obviously that's Steph Curry and LeBron James. And I think for me more so, who will be their starters once the Olympics start? And I'm sure they're going to be finalizing that. Their starting lineup tonight might not be their starting lineup once the Olympics start. But I think Steph Curry and LeBron James locked. I want to say Joel Embiid. But like I've said, I don't even think he should be here because of his health. But his starting position, I think, is dependent on whether or not he's healthy. He might start but not play that much. He might be one of those situations. But I don't think he's guaranteed because of his health. I do think he should be starting though. So Joel Embiid, let's say Joel Embiid, right? Especially we saw him. He was kind of with those guys, right? So Steph, LeBron, Joel Embiid. I want to say Anthony Edwards is going to be the 2 guard. More natural. Has athleticism. Obviously, he doesn't have the size like some of these other guys, like a Kevin Durant, for example. Has athleticism. Can get out on the break. Push the pace of the floor, right? And then the part that I'm struggling with is, are they going to go big, or are they going to go smaller? So like I said, Joel Embiid is isn't healthy. So I'm expecting him to come off. So I'm expecting Anthony Davis. I said Davis. I'm expecting Anthony Davis to be the first big off the bench and to play a lot of the minutes. So I think he's going to be the center. So I don't think Anthony Davis plays the 4, and I don't think Bam does either. Which leaves me with Jayson Tatum and Kevin Durant. My gut wants to say Kevin Durant. All right, I guess no. I said that wrong. Sorry. My heart wants to say Kevin Durant. My gut is saying Jayson Tatum. Because you get a LeBron James that's obviously much older now. Steph Curry that's also 36 years old. Joel Embiid that's slow. You need 2 players that can play with pace and athleticism and be young, basically. Which is Anthony Edwards and Jayson Tatum. I think if you throw Kevin Durant in there, you throw in another older player that's more of a half-court player, especially at this point in his career. Obviously really great, but I think Tatum kind of matches what they have in that lineup that I've said with Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, and then you add Jayson Tatum with Joel Embiid or Anthony Davis if Embiid is not healthy, obviously. So that's my 5, which is the lineup that they had on the floor. Now, I think what this does is you have a Tyrese Halliburton and a Jrue Holiday coming off of the bench for them, obviously, right? I think what this sets up is Bam Adebayo, who's a little bit shorter. So if Anthony Davis ends up playing a lot with the first unit, Bam ends up kind of playing a lot with the second unit, Kevin Durant gives them size at the 4. But he also frees them up offensively because he's so great, right? So Tyrese doesn't have so much pressure on him. Jrue Holiday doesn't have so much pressure on him. Now they have, I can't believe they have Derek White, dog. Like I don't even get it. But let me see. Olympic Games. Where's like who? Oh, see. Oh, so off the bench you would have to have Halliburton with Booker. That's tough. It's gonna be Book, Jrue, with Halliburton, KD, and Anthony Davis or Bam. Yeah, that's probably gonna be their second unit. And then their extras is gonna be literally Derek White, and then that frees up a Joel Embiid if he's not really gonna play that much, right? Those are gonna be the 2 guys that don't really get as much burn. I wish it was Jaylen Brown. It gives them more size. It makes a lot more sense. I don't get it. Because then you could run, if you got Halliburton now, imagine you got Jrue Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Devin Booker, KD, and Bam or Anthony Davis. Like that lineup sounds crazy. But now it's let's call it Derek White, Jrue Holiday. It just don't sound the same. Like it's good. Don't get me wrong. It just, excuse me. But yeah, so again, my starter, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jayson Tatum with Joel Embiid. And obviously, if Joel Embiid ends up not being healthy, they're going to have to end up getting another big, I think, if he ends up bowing out of this. But if that's the case, then obviously Anthony Davis ends up being the starter Or even if Joel Embiid is in, I think Anthony Davis is still going to pretty much play the starter minutes for this team. So, all right, now we got to talk about a little Kevin Durant. Why Hoopers love Kevin Durant. Now, I saw a post and they were talking about, Kevin Durant. It was saying, why do people consider Kevin Durant the GOAT? Now, I'm not a person that considers Kevin Durant the GOAT. I think people throw around that term GOAT too loosely nowadays. Everyone's a fucking GOAT nowadays. But when you talk about Hoopers, why they love Kevin Durant, why NBA players love Kevin Durant, even in these all-time conversations, is because Hoopers, and I even look at him in this way. I consider myself like a Hooper. When you look at a player and you judge them and you picture how they look on a basketball court with other players or with you or whatnot, all that shit that everyone talks about, oh, he left his OKC team to go to the Warriors. Oh, he's been jumping around. Oh, he's this. Hoopers, basketball players, NBA, no one looks at it like that. I hope y'all know that. I get that it's a part of his story. I get that it's a part of the narrative. Oh, he'd go team to team. I get he hasn't won since the war. I understand all of that stuff. But when Hoopers think and talk about basketball, if you're giving me 7 foot tall with handles and can take and shoot any shot on the basketball floor, you don't got to give me anything more than that. And when you watch Kevin Durant, Hoopers know. Because we understand there's no defense for that. You want to talk no, but there's no defense for that. You want to talk about what happened in the offseason. Okay, what's the defense for him? 28, 30 a game, no matter what. It don't matter the team. It don't matter who's with him, who's not with him, the situation. Are they shitting on him? Not shit. And his big toe, let's be honest, if he didn't turn, they get the Bucks out of there. It's so many things could have shifted. But everybody wants to talk about, oh, he left. I get it. Y'all gotta fucking get over it, dog. Y'all gotta get over it. That's just what it comes down to. There's so many fans out there that identify their entire identity is based around their team. You don't love the sport. You love your team that just so happens to play basketball. As opposed to hoopers and players and, basketball people that love the game. When you love the game of basketball and you're judging someone off basketball, it don't get better than a Kevin Durant. It don't. It don't. And obviously, in that same sentence, I just put him on the bench on this team because you're of what you're looking, because you have a LeBron James who's better. You have a step, you have other guys that are also great that could do things also on the floor. You have a Joel Embiid that fucking 7 feet fucking do everything on the floor. He's just bigger, you get what I'm saying? So, obviously, you could put Kevin Durant on the bench, and he, like I said, he's older. Put someone younger in there that could push the pace. But that's why, 7 feet tall could do everything on the court. What the fuck? It's not that difficult. People don't look at it past that when people talk about Kevin Durant being a great basketball player. And then you want to argue with me about, oh, well, he left. No, guard 7 feet tall. Guard it. Come on now. Come on. Oh, there was this also. Damn, we've been talking about Jayson Tatum a lot today. Shit. So Jayson Tatum had arrived to Team USA a little bit late because he was signing his contract supposedly, and he had ran into Joe Mazzulla. And Tatum said Joe was already trying to draw up shit for next season. I was like, Joe, fuck that. We just won the championship. Like, enjoy it and relax. And I saw some people that were actually having arguments over this shit. Because of the way that Jayson Tatum had responded. Everyone's loving Joe Mazzulla being proactive, thinking about the next season, blah, 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 blah. I love it too. I think it's great. Does he need to chill and enjoy a little bit? Yeah, of course. But you love the fact that he's hungry and he's just trying to win, right? When it comes to Tatum, he's looking towards the Olympics right now, though. Like that. I saw a lot of people in the comments like it's like it's as if he said that and then he's going home to just sit on his ass. He said that and then left to go join Team USA. So obviously he was joking. Like obviously it's a joke. I guess a lot of folks don't fucking process jokes anymore. Obviously he was joking, but on a serious note, right now, currently, today, his objective is to go win the gold medal. After that, the NBA championship. But currently, it's a gold medal. And so why the fuck are people mad at what he's trying to look out for his coach. He's like, yo, just you've done a phenomenal job. Like, you've earned rest. Everyone's allowed to rest. Like, all these guys talk about all his mentality is da 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 da. He gotta go play on the Olympics. That's where his focus is currently, and you can't get mad at that. Which brings me to this, because there was a DeAndre Ayton quote from the other day. And he said, "This is bigger than any Western Conference Finals. You're fighting for your country, and there's guys like us that don't get paid for this." Let's see. And I don't love the comparison, right? I don't think he has to say this is bigger than any Western Conference Finals. I think the mentality should be, and I've heard a lot of guys say this during the NBA, the biggest game is the next game. Whatever that next game is, or whatever game is in front of you, that's the biggest game. You can't play a game that's in next June. That's June 2025. Can't play that game, right? You can only play the game that's in front of you. And here's the other part that I'm sure there's guys that dream of playing on the Olympics. Most people dream of playing in the NBA. And with that means winning a championship in the NBA. So let's just call a spade, right? Like, and this is no disrespect to no countries. Like, this is so. No, you should have pride in your country. You play hard as fuck. But a lot of kids, their dreams growing up, if they're basketball players and NBA players, their dreams are to play in the NBA. Not necessarily to be on the Olympic team. I'm sure that comes along, but initially, for a lot of guys, that's their dream, especially in the U.S. And so, obviously, there's value in that for these guys, right? But to say that it's bigger than any Western Conference Finals, you're fighting for your country in a league where this is people's dream, is the NBA Finals. I don't know if I could get behind that, man. I don't know if I can get behind that comparison. I'm all for you focus on what's in front of you. If you start focusing on other shit, obviously think ahead. Like any normal person can comprehend what I'm saying, right? Like, but you focus on what's in front of you. And currently speaking, what's in front of you is the Olympics. That's the most important thing right now. You get past that, on to the next thing. But this idea that some of these guys have been talking about, like as if the Olympics is, I get that the Olympics is great for these countries, but when it comes to basketball, like the dream is the NBA. Am I wrong? Like that's a lot of people's dreams, is to make it to the NBA. That's why you get to the highest league in these other countries and you try to get into the NBA. Like, am I missing something there? Like, I don't know, bro. But so obviously tonight we have USA versus Canada, which I'm really, really excited about. I'm excited to see some, NBA basketball again, man. I'm excited to see these guys just doing their thing. And on the other side for Canada, you have Shea, you have Dylan Brooks. Who the fuck else they got, dog? I don't even remember. Oh, and you got Jamal Murray. I don't know what they think is about to happen, bro. Like they and one of the images they deadass put Dylan Brooks across from LeBron James. Like what the fuck, bro? Obviously we're expecting the USA to win. Not to say that Canada is not a good team. They have, in my opinion, the MVP of this past season is Shea. So don't get that twisted, but this USA team is stacked. I'm not expecting these guys to drop a game. I'm expecting them to pretty much blow everyone out. I'm expecting them to be sharp. So I'm excited for this game, man. It's going to be fun to watch. We get to see what their dynamic looks like. I wonder if Derek White is going to be there already to play with Kawhi out. So yeah, and then on top of that, we get to see the starting lineup. We get to see kind of what they're running. If I'm right, if I'm wrong. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited, man. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Now, I don't know if I'm sure you kind of just saw it real quick, but this is another topic that I wanted to touch on. And it's because I was watching Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I was thinking about Marvel. And in Spider-Man, right, if you've seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, then go fuck yourself. If it's too late. Miles Morales he's obviously in Spider Society, and they're telling him about I think in Marvel's What If, they call it like an inflection point or some shit, or like it's like a point that can't change, right? It's a point that basically sets these heroes to become heroes, right? And in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, those things were necessary so that Spider-Man can become Spider-Man, and certain things could happen, right? And they were mad at Miles because they were in like the Spider-Man India one, and he saved the officer or whatnot when he wasn't supposed to, and blah 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 blah. And then I was also having a conversation with one of my friends, who ironically is also named Jason, and he was basically saying that hardships create good men, and then those good men create good times, which then create a bunch of pussies. And then when you get those guys, they create a harder life, which then creates a hard life for their kids, which then creates hard men, and the cycle continues. And then I had also seen a video of Vince Staples saying, because he was getting interviewed, and the interviewee basically said, trauma is a huge part of creating art and creating music. And Vince Staples said, yeah, I fuck with trauma. Yeah, I fuck with that shit. And so, does trauma create greatness? Is it an important part of it? And obviously, trauma is arranged because it's however it affects you. How something could affect someone totally differently than it affects someone else. But something happens in these people's lives that propel them to greatness. And it could be from family situations, losing someone, to someone doubting you. I'm sure it ranges. But how important is that? Is that really... Because I talked about it with Bronny James, right? Like, LeBron had lived such a difficult life, and even though he had this personality of a nice guy, happy-go-lucky, wants everyone to be good and happy, wants to let everyone smile, when it came time to see red and black out, basically, LeBron, in my opinion, a part of where he was able to pull from was the hardships that he had in life, right? He's able to use that as fuel. Man, I came from all this shit. Look at where I am. Like, I could push the great heights. Look at where I came from, type thing. Compare that to a Bronny who, let's call it what it is, has lived a great life, right? Where does a person like that pull from? And for me, you could, like Steph Curry, for example, one of the greatest players we've ever seen, a great player still, didn't grow up poor. Dad was in the NBA. They were good. They were good. They had a comfortable life, right? But something happened to him when he was younger, whether it's people doubting him, getting picked on, bullied, whatever it was, that drove him. And, you know, everyone has seen Steph Curry go a little psycho. He has that gear in him. And so, what is it for these players, right? Like, I've been talking about Jared McCain a lot, and he's been showing flashes of being a really solid NBA player. These new age kids, they're seeing everything on the internet. I'm sure Jared McCain has seen all you zesty, all you gay, all you this, all you that, and he gets to be like, wait a second, like I'm sure he reads all of it. He feels those emotions, right? A new age kid could potentially go through some trauma without even leaving their fucking phone nowadays. Can that push someone to be great? Is that enough to fuel someone? Who knows? We're yet to see it. We got to see. But I do think that the trauma goes a long way. Because in those dark times when you got to push through and get above something and get through something, those are some of the things that people look at. And to a lesser extent, there is also NBA trauma, whether it's losses that you had, massive losses like the Celtics to the Warriors a couple years ago. That loss might have been a form of trauma for them that got them to get over the hump. Jordan against the Pistons, LeBron against Dallas. I'm sure that was NBA trauma for him. Got him to be great, right? Sacrificed whatever he needed to do. I do think it's a part of it. And so, yeah, man, I guess for me it's interesting. Like, what would be those times for some of these players? Like, would it be, for example, like MJ, would it be getting cut from getting cut from the varsity team, him only going JV or something like that, right? Like, what was it for Kobe? Maybe he was getting bullied and picked on when they were in Italy, right? Missing the air balls might be his NBA trauma. He's like, man, I gotta go fucking be great. Like, I wonder what it is. I'm curious what y'all would think. Some of these things that push some of our favorite players to be great. Because hey man, sometimes we need it, right? We need a push in the ass to get us over the hump. And hopefully we can all look at those situations positively instead of negatively, right? To push ourselves to be great. But with that being said, that's going to do it for me today, man. I know I've been yapping. I know I missed yesterday. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back. We fixed it. So thank you for coming along and joining me. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. It helps the channel. It helps it go a long way. And as always, you could have been anywhere on the internet, but you were here with me. And I really appreciate you for that. So thank you so much for hanging out. I will see y'all tomorrow after this game. Man, thank y'all for hanging out with me. I'll see y'all. Peace, 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 peace.